Yesterday, the Supreme Court of the United States struck down effectively the vaccine mandate that the Biden administration had imposed on some businesses through OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. You may recall that the Biden administration through OSHA said that companies with 100 plus employees would have to make sure that their employees were either vaccinated or went to work with their faces covered and would be subjected to weekly testing for COVID-19. And a number of organizations and states sued. And to cut a long story short, yesterday, the Supreme Court of the United States issued a stay, meaning a pause, in effect, stopping this regulation from OSHA going into effect. And the reasons that the court did so are pretty straightforward, and I'll read some of them from the text of the decision itself. In a nutshell, the statute that authorizes OSHA to promulgate regulations, to issue regulations, gives OSHA pretty limited authority to take care of workplace safety, not every place safety, just workplace safety. And that's the nub of the matter. So let me share the screen here. The question then, says the court, this is the text of the decision. The question then is whether the Act, the Occupational Safety and Health Act, plainly authorizes the Secretary's mandate. And the Secretary's mandate is that vaccine mandate, either get vaccinated if you happen to work for a company with 100 plus employees and you don't work 100% remotely or work outdoors. So either get vaccinated against COVID-19 or submit to weekly and COVID-19 testing and go to work with your face covered. The question then is whether the Act plainly authorizes the Secretary's mandate. It does not, says the court. The Act empowers the Secretary to set workplace safety standards, not broad public health measures. And let's scroll down to what that does cover. Although COVID-19 is a risk that occurs in many workplaces, says the court, it is not an occupational hazard in most. COVID-19 can and does spread at home, in schools, during sporting events, and everywhere else that people gather. That kind of universal risk is no different from the day-to-day dangers that all face, from crime, air pollution, or any number of communicable diseases. Permitting OSHA to regulate the hazards of daily life simply because most Americans have jobs and face those same risks while on the clock would significantly expand OSHA's regulatory authority without clear congressional authorization. Now, the court does say that in some instances, OSHA can regulate and can mandate COVID-19 vaccination or facial covering and testing, and that's where there's a particular danger. For example, down here, we do not doubt, for example, that OSHA could regulate researchers who work with the COVID-19 virus. So too could OSHA regulate risks associated with working in particularly crowded or cramped environments. But the danger present in such workplaces differs in both degree and kind from the everyday risk of contracting COVID-19 that all face. OSHA's indiscriminate approach fails to account for this crucial distinction between occupational risk and risk more generally. And accordingly, the mandate takes on the character of a general public health measure rather than an occupational safety or health standard. And that occupational health and safety, that's OSHA's wheelhouse. It's there in order to take care of workplace safety, not every place safety. So this vaccine mandate is no more. Okay, but there are still vaccine mandates at the state level, especially for state employees and for students. And briefly, I think it's worth looking at where we are in Massachusetts right now in terms of vaccination and the risk of hospitalization from COVID-19. And today is January 14th, 2022. And this on the screen right now, at least I hope it's on the screen right now, is I'm going to stop share and then try again. Okay, share screen. Okay, I hope what's on the screen is the dashboard of the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, their COVID-19 dashboard. Hospitalizations from COVID-19. This is from January 12th, 2022, a couple of days ago. What does it say? On January 12th, 2022, there were 3,180 patients hospitalized for COVID-19 in Massachusetts. Of those 3,180 patients, 1,505 were reported to be fully vaccinated for COVID-19 when they contracted COVID-19. 1,505 out of 3,180. I will admit that my math isn't great, but I think that's about 48%, almost 50%. So about half the people hospitalized for COVID-19 in Massachusetts right now are fully vaccinated against COVID-19. So let that sink in. It's a little different from the statistic in Ontario, which I referred to in the previous video, where the percentage of people hospitalized for COVID-19 who are fully vaccinated is north of 60%. I think it's about 65%. And noteworthy that in Ontario, the term unvaccinated, by the definition that they use in the Department of Public Health in Ontario, unvaccinated includes people who have had one shot of the two-shot regimen. So unvaccinated includes people who are somewhat vaccinated. Partially vaccinated is a different category again, but bear in mind, when you look at the percentage in Ontario for people hospitalized with COVID-19 who are unvaccinated, that's the minority, that's about 25%. Even that 25% includes some people who are vaccinated. I think that that is relevant when you're assessing the efficacy of a public policy, whether it's worth mandating that people get vaccinated or get fired when the efficacy of the vaccine is, well, I'll leave you to think about what the efficacy of the vaccines are right now.